To date, we have confirmed 82.7 million of our $100 million building, with 25 million each from the federal and the provincial governments, if you have heard, for the completion of phase 1, 22.5 million from Western, and 10.2 million from alumni, including 3.1 million from the members of the building task force. John was too shy to talk about his contribution of $2 million, so thank you, John. I certainly would like to give my heartfelt thanks to those individuals for leading the way. When you think about philanthropy, there is one family that immediately comes to mind, the Iveys. To this date, the Iveys remain pioneers in philanthropy. Speaking of the Ivey family, in 1968, J. Allen Taylor pointed out, I'll quote him, "Above all, the Iveys avoid the taint of charity, giving mere handouts, by providing instead carefully thought out ladders which people would be willing to climb." In the school's deans, faculty, staff, and students, the Iveys found perfect partners, individuals who could dream big dreams and had the courage, the conviction, and the ability to make the climb, no matter how high the summit. In a minute, Dick is going to speak to his knowledge and memory of the early days of his family's relationship with the business school. But first, let me share my own perspective on this very amazing partnership. When I look back on the school's history, it's clear that at pivotal moments, the Iveys were always ready with a ladder of support for a broad range of goals, from supporting and encouraging our faculty, to championing infrastructure projects, to our adventures in Asia, which at the early days no one was too sure that they would work out, and our global expansion. For example, in 1965, the family contributed over $400,000 to the business school for research to ensure that the faculty had the resources to stay abreast of the most critical issues of the day. They had the great foresight 4 years later to provide another investment of $250,000 for a mainframe computer and key punch machines so that business students could understand and capture the increasing potential for the use of computers in management. So each contribution they made was clearly designed to support the school's vision. Each gift transformed the vision into action. The Ivey family's support extends far beyond financial. While Dick and his children, Richard and Roz, are all graduates of the business school, each of them also has been very active on Ivey's advisory board and Western's board of governors. Richard G. Ivey, Dick, and the late and much beloved Beryl Ivey have received honorary doctorates for playing critical leadership roles at Western over the years. The school's most prominent lecture series each year is named in honor of Richard G. Ivey. Each year, this lecture attracts a prominent business leader who represents leadership, entrepreneurship, international business, and/or social responsibility. Family members participate in classes, mentor students, welcome us into their homes, and are always ready to open a door or to make a call. It is simply impossible to enumerate all of their contributions. They're dedicated and active volunteers, they're advisors, and they're advocates. And we are truly grateful and fortunate that their dreams embrace our own. For any student who has earned an HBA, an MBA, or a PhD degree in business at Weston over the past 14 years, the Ivey's family most significant contribution to the school came in 1995 with an $11 million donation. With this gift, the Western Business School was renamed the Richard Ivey School of Business and has become quite simply known as Ivey. This gift also launched the start of the Ivey Campaign, which was the largest and most successful fundraising campaign for an individual faculty within a university in Canada. Today, the Ivey family has joined us to announce another transformational gift to the school. I am pleased to share with you that the Ivey family has committed $15 million, providing a solid foundation for the next campaign. This gift includes $5 million for the building, which will ensure that we secure gold level LEED certification. The gift also includes $1 million endowed to support activities around corporate social responsibility, $3 million to establish a unique program that matches unrestricted endowed gifts, and a $4.5 million bequest from Dick. This brings their total financial contribution to the business school to more than $28 million. I can think of no greater role model for our students. The Ivey family embodies the business school's mission. Or perhaps the truth is that it's the Richard Ivey School of Business that embodies the mission of the founding family, the Iveys. It is my great pleasure to introduce Dick Ivey.
Well, thank you, Carol. You're too kind. 65 years ago today, I was commencing my second year at Western, and 3 years later, in 1947, I graduated with an HBA from the Department of Business Administration. As Carol has already mentioned, it was then conducting classes in the basement of University College. Actually, I like to think that I had some association with the school acquiring the Ivey name in its later years. It began when my father, a corporate law specialist and member of the board of directors of several prominent corporations, took an interest in the business courses I was taking, which he felt would be a great help to me in my future. He was impressed. His friendship with the then president of the university, Dr. Edward Hall, led to his appointment in 1948 as the chair of a committee to consider the creation of a separate school of business administration, which would be a first in Canada. Senior executives of a number of major Canadian businesses were consulted, and following a visit to Harvard Business School in 1950, by Dr. Hall, my father, and a group of these executives, a decision was made to proceed to develop a school at Western. The first dean of the school was Lloyd Seifert, appointed in 1950, followed by Fred Jones in 1954. Both of these men had been clients of my father when they were owners of a local business. An advisory committee to the school was established, which included such prominent businessmen as the chief executive officers of Imperial Oil, Canadian Pacific Railway, London Life Insurance Company, John Labatt Limited, Ford Motor Company of Canada, IBM Canada, the London Free Press, and several others. My father was named as chairman of the committee. In 1951, the school moved into a large former private home known as Good Home, not far from the campus. In 1955, however, due to the success that the school was enjoying, Dr. Hall suggested that the school should return to the campus and build a new building for its exclusive use. The move was endorsed by the advisory committee, and my father and Fred Jones were handed the responsibility for raising the money to erect the building. Father had been appointed chancellor of the university that same year. He volunteered to make a leading major donation to pay for the building and raise the remaining funds needed to complete it. Over 95% of his donation, however, was in fact made by the Richard Ivey Foundation, incorporated 8 years before as a family foundation. Due to my father's astute estate planning begun back in the 1930s, all members of his family, including myself, were in a position to financially contribute to the foundation to a significant extent. Accordingly, when the university suggested naming the completed building in his honor, he requested that it be named the Richard Ivey School of Business Administration Building to reflect the role of the foundation in donating a major share of the funding. The new building was opened in 1957, and here we are 52 years later, breaking ground for another new building. I sincerely hope I will be able to attend its opening as well. My father would have been thrilled had he lived long enough to witness the success of the school through the years. My sister, Lorraine Shuttleworth, and I, and the members of my family, Richard, Rosamond, both graduates of the school, Jennifer and Suzanne, and my late wife, Beryl, have all been very proud of the school's achievements. We are exceedingly grateful to the federal and provincial governments, the university, and many other donors who are contributing so generously to help finance this magnificent new building. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you.